Okay, what is it? It is Thursday, 1 o'clock. This week has been our first week together, or my first week together with the four, with Josh Dunkley Smith, Nick Ellis Purnell, and Duncan Free and myself. Little old me sitting up in the bow seat. I mentioned the names in that order because that's how we finished off the seating this particular stint together. Dunk's dropped back to the 2 seat for the last 2 rows, and Josh went up to stroke seat and seemed to be a positive change. So we had 4 rows. We did, I don't know, what was it, 180 Ks, 160 Ks, bike riding and 2 bike riding sessions, weights. Guys did an ergo, I did a watt bike session. It's all up. We've done a bit of training since Monday afternoon. Yes, that's right, Monday afternoon to Thursday morning. So I'm heading back down to Yamba now to catch up with my family and spend the rest of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday morning with them before flying back to Melbourne with my wife and 2 children. What's my take on things? I'm reminded all too well that the dynamics of a 4 are certainly different to a pair, and although the harmony in a pair I think is really critical, and the challenge of just having 2 people matching up perfectly to make a boat go really fast is quite subtle. The dynamics of a 4 mean that you can be doing things right in certain seats, and yet things like platform and the way you pick up out the front and all that sort of stuff can be a bit off because if you're not quite doing it the same way. So I'm reminded of that because it's been a long time since I've sort of had the focus of really trying to do A4 for a longer stint than just building up to a national championships and all that sort of stuff. And we're probably going through a bit of the teething problems that you go through in any team. I'm reminded of a model called the Tuckman's model. I think it might have been Bruce Tuckman. Did a lot of work with military, and a lot of people in the corporate world are aware of the model as to forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, or disbanding, if you want to call it that way. And I think very much we're still in the forming stage, going into a bit of storming stage. Yet we haven't had any storming as such, but I think internally frustration levels have been off and on at different stages. How do I describe it? You've got 4 personalities, 4 strong personalities, I believe, who are all very keen to go super fast and all very capable, and I'm probably the one who's physically the weakest out of the group, and so can't be as competitive physically, load-wise and all that sort of stuff just yet. But distinct personalities. Some have described themselves as being stubborn. Some have described themselves as being a bit bullish. We've all admitted to each other that we're open to learning and we want to learn, but I think we also have some strong ideas about how we want to row and how we need to move. So the exciting thing is, when you've got distinct personalities, distinct styles and approaches, certainly complementary in one way, but there's going to be a bit of friction and a bit of rubbing at times. And I think at this stage we're just getting a feel for each other. We're sort of a little bit of battling in the boat, just trying to get the load and the pressures right, and get the understanding of how we move together as a forward, not how 2 pairs move or how individually people move. And that's going to take a little while to just become ingrained. And I suppose there's going to be some times of more frustration yet, trying to find boat speed and trying to meet a certain level of standard that we have as an expectation for ourselves. I think the great thing about being in dynamic crews is that the level of expectation of performance is very high, and this crew is very much like that. I think we've got different mindsets about how to do it potentially right now, only because we haven't spent that much time together. But the willingness or the want to make it work is extremely high, and the motivation is good, I think, as well. And so I think long term it's going to be fantastic, but I think in the short term we're going to have a little bit of pain, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of angst, but all in a positive way. I don't think angst in a negative way or frustration in a negative way. I think we're all able to verbalise and talk to each other and let go of things when we need to. But certainly, we're a crew finding its feet and finding our way. So pretty exciting. 4 rows. Don't really have anything to report in terms of boat speeds or anything like that because we haven't done anything specific yet. We've done a little bit of rate builds up and down to 24, 22. We've done a bit of paddling, pushing it along, but until we get sort of measured, won't really know how that is. We did a few 20-stroke pieces yesterday. My rib is good, but I did notice this morning that with a lot of turning around in the boat and looking over my shoulder for the odd bridge on the Gold Coast waterway, plus also a little bit of inconsistency around platform meant that my inside arm was getting tight and not painful in my rib, but certainly just noticing a bit tight around my lat and all that sort of stuff. So I was conscious of that with the guys, but a little bit of residual fatigue. My legs are a bit tired, like I think the other guys as well. And looking forward to the second phase, which when we come together in Canberra in a week and a bit's time, and different water. I think particularly for Josh and Nick in Canberra would be good because they're pretty familiar with it. Obviously Dunks and I know it because we've done years and years there over, we've done our time there over the years. But those guys are probably very familiar with the water. They like the water. And we get to do some stuff with other crews, so it'll be the first time of a bit of comparative sort of thing. So anyway, a very long-winded update, but bit on the go. Mentally, I know that for the next 3 weeks I've really got to personally do many things right and be very well organised, as I've got work on next week, and then the week after Canberra I've got work on again with participants on the BHP program. So that'll take all my energy over those 2 weeks just to make sure I get the training done and keep staying productive on session, during session, and then the week in Canberra is going to be pretty intense, I think, workload wise as well. So until next time, be over and out from me.